Now at 10.
I'm very sensitive to gun owners' rights, but I'm also sensitive to the problem we face.
School shooting-themed sweatshirts are fueling new discussions about gun laws. Hear what Senator Lindsey Graham wants to do about the issue.
And city leaders wanting to improve portions of the city of Aiken, and they want your input. I'm Devin Johnson. More next.
And we are clear of the radar. We should stay that way for the rest of the night. We are going to have a chilly night. It's going to feel really nice. We're going to see this through the rest of the week. I'll have the timing coming up in just a little bit.
I'm John Hart.
And I'm Dee Griffin.
This is News Channel 6 at 10 on MeTV.
Live from Television Park, this is WJBF News Channel 6 at 10 on MeTV.
These new sneakers are just what I need for the new year.
This jacket is a real must-have.
Now at 10, a powerful public service announcement on school shootings.
The video was made by the organization Sandy Hook Promise. The group was founded after the mass shootings there almost 7 years ago. Sandy Hook is one of 4 schools whose names are featured on a controversial line of new sweatshirts. They are also distressed, giving the appearance of bullet holes.
And with several new threats against schools across the country this week, Ashley Osborne reports the reaction to the shirts has been strong.
Headline after headline published Tuesday and Wednesday about these sweatshirts. Tens of thousands of shares on social media. The hoodies are distressed, which gives off the appearance of bullet holes. They're scattered throughout the fabric next to the names of 4 schools where mass shootings happened. Columbine, where 2 seniors killed 13 people, wounded 20 more, then committed suicide. April marked 20 years since the tragedy. Virginia Tech, 12 years ago, a gunman killed 32, injured 17, and 6 more were hurt, jumping out of windows trying to escape him. The shooter committed suicide on campus. Sandy Hook, where 26 people were murdered almost 7 years ago, 20 of the victims just 6- and 7-year-old children. The shooter took his life when first responders arrived. And finally, Stoneman Douglas, where a gunman killed 17, injured 17 more in February of 2018 in Parkland, Florida. The shooter's trial is scheduled for this January. The majority of the responses about these sweatshirts are negative. One commenter wrote, "As a victim of Columbine, I'm appalled. This is disgusting. You can draw awareness another way, but don't you dare make money off of our tragedy." Some people backed the clothing launch. One poster said, "I hope all the people in the comments that are upset enough to talk to their elected officials about serious gun control measures." Here's Senator Lindsey Graham on gun violence during his recent trip to Aiken.
40 visits by the cops to the shooter at Parkland. He had a social posting he was going to kill people at the school. Nobody did anything about it. My goal is to keep any gun out of the hand of somebody who's mentally unstable or filled with hate and rage. That's the goal. It's not the gun, it's the person with the gun.
He shares what he's working on in Washington.
We'll leave it up to the states to whether or not they want a protective order statute or red flag law, but if you do pass one with due process to protect the gun owner, there'll be some money for the police to hire mental health professionals to evaluate what cases to take to court. I'm very sensitive to gun owners' rights, but I'm also sensitive to the problem we face.
Reporting for WJBF News Channel 6, I'm Ashley Osborne.
Be-Stroy is the name of the clothing brand that made the sweatshirts. The company says they were only intended for Fashion Week, but now they are considering selling them.
And a look at the Jiffy Lube Skyview Network over at Television Park. Here, as you can see, we have a nice, easygoing night tonight. We are expecting to be a little bit cooler than what we've been seeing. Temperatures are going to drop to the low 60s. Right now, we're at 76 degrees here in Augusta, 67 in North Augusta, a little cooler, 72 out Hepzibah, Fort Gordon, and Grovetown. Evans at 73, so we're all that low to mid 70s range. We are dry, we are clear over Augusta. We're expecting to stay that way. Imelda is producing quite a bit of rain over Houston. It's going to continue to jump a little bit, but we're going to stay dry for the next few days, probably even more than that, but we are going to continue to stay cool over the next few days. It's going to feel very, very nice as we go into the weekend. Temperatures are going to be very nice, so enjoy this nice, comfortable air. It's going to stick around just for a few days before we start warming up. I'll have more on that coming up in just a little bit. Guys, back over to you.
Those low temperatures tomorrow, Friday morning and Saturday morning just keep going down. Yes. I'm loving it.
Thanks a lot.
New at 10, Aiken County leaders talking opportunity zones. Those are low-income areas where businesses can get tax breaks for investing.
City officials held a meeting focusing on the zone in the city of Aiken and how to bring more businesses there. And News Channel 6's Devin Johnson was in Aiken this afternoon, and he's live in the newsroom now. And Devin, council members want the public's input.
Indeed, tonight the focus was on what people want to see in their neighborhood. Leaders want folks to weigh on in different types of development and where that development is needed. In Aiken County, there are 3 opportunity zones, 2 in North Augusta and 1 in the All-America City in the northern section.
It is a method for the federal government to encourage investors to put money in communities or portions of the community that just need a little extra attention and investment.
O'Brien says there are about 6,000 people living in this zone. Unfortunately, the poverty rate sits at 41%, and just about 50% of those people who live in that zone are working. Aiken City officials and investors are aiming to change that.
You know, there have been a lot of questions about what does the city want to see or what project is the city planning. We're not.
They want to see people back at work.
What we're doing is we're marketing the fact that we're open for business. We have available property. Some of it is older commercial property that can be reinvigorated. Some of it is open land.
City council members say they can help. They can encourage businesses to invest in the opportunity zone. If a business does, there are tax incentives.
I see like the old Church's Chicken over there. It's been there for years. It's just been sitting down. The building's dilapidated. A couple other buildings in the community that with the right resources can be used in the right areas to employ people.
Most people at the meeting say they hope this will be a funding tool to encourage long-term investments in low-income communities.
I've heard the numbers about it was like 41% lived in poverty. And I just care about people, I want to own my own business. That if I can bless someone in that process, it helps the community overall.
The prospectus document will be released in mid-October. That document will showcase the investment opportunities in the city of Aiken. I'm Devin Johnson, and I'm live in the newsroom. Back to you guys.
All right, Devin, thanks a lot.
A former Aiken County Board of Education member now calling for an ethics investigation. Rosemary English is a retired Aiken County teacher and administrator who moved through the ranks of Aiken Public Schools before retiring. She alleges some board members altered agendas to benefit people other than the children of Aiken County, amongst other things. Tonight, the school board sent a letter to the community responding to the recent resignation of Superintendent Sean Alford. We have it at WJBF.com. In Richmond County, the new superintendent is settling into his job. Ken Bradshaw started his job earlier this month, and he returns to Richmond County after a year in Tennessee. Bradshaw says his prior work with school security and the tribunal process helped improve the schools, but he wants to focus here on student achievement.
President Trump is calling for a ban on flavored e-cigarettes after reports of deaths and illnesses possibly linked to the product. Lawmakers here in South Carolina want to also take action. Georgia Godfrey has more details on a bill waiting to be filed to help keep vaping products out of the hands of teens.
A Midlands lawmaker wants to end teen usage of e-cigarettes. That's why Representative Beth Bernstein plans to file a bill to remove the flavored products from shelves. In South Carolina, teens under the age of 18 are already prohibited from entering smoke shops and ordering vaping products like Juul online. But after recent deaths possibly linked to the product and a push at the national level, Midlands Representative Beth Bernstein wants to add more legislation to make it even harder for teenagers to get the product. The proposal would ban flavored vaping products.
If you're not going to be able to attract the preteen, teenager into using the product, they're not going to just start using vaping products if it doesn't have the cool creme brulee flavor.
And earlier this summer, Governor Henry McMaster announced that Juul Labs was bringing a facility to the Midlands area. The company says that project is still on track. In Columbia, Georgia Godfrey.
New York recently passed a similar law banning flavored e-cigarettes. Right now, the Health Administration is looking into the connection between pulmonary illness and e-cigarettes to draft federal policy.
And tomorrow's commute is going to be very nice. We should start off tomorrow a little bit on the chilly side. Temperatures will be in the low 60s, but we will see plenty of sunshine. I'll have more on that coming up in just a little bit.
Now, you heard Alex mention it earlier in the show. This is the scene in Galveston, Texas. Tropical storm Imelda dumped 8 inches of rain in the last 36 hours, putting some historic buildings at risk, and some of the surrounding areas saw as much as 17 inches, as much as 5 inches falling in an hour. A tornado touched down outside Houston tonight, but no injuries have been reported.
Now, your most accurate forecast with WJBF Live Viper 6.
And a look at the Jiffy Lube Skyview Network over Washington Road. We do have a nice night in store for us. We should stay dry. The clouds will start to clear up, and that will usher in some even cooler temperatures. We're expecting to stay pretty cool. It's going to be our first little taste of fall. As you can see on the radar, we have nothing in terms of precipitation. We will stay dry for your Wednesday night. Even as we get into Thursday, it will stay nice and clear. 70 degrees right now in Augusta, Aiken, also Edgefield, Waynesboro, 71 in Louisville, Gibson, Lincolnton, Washington, and we have 69 in Saluda, 68 McCormick is the low end. So we're all around that 70-degree mark. Our dew points are still nice in the low 60s, 59 in Aiken, Barnwell, and Bamberg, 62 in Millen, 58 Louisville, 59 in Gibson. So around that 60-degree mark, that's why it feels really nice outside. It's going to feel good tomorrow too. We're ushering in a little bit of drier, cooler air from the northeast. We are getting a little bit of a cold air dam effect, and that's going to keep our temperatures nice and cool over the next few days. As you can see, we did clear out as we got through the day with the cloud cover. So tonight we are going to be a little bit drier. That's going to move into the area, and then tomorrow we'll see plenty of sunshine. Tropical depression Imelda, as you can see, the convection is still pretty thick. They've got a lot of rain going on around in the Gulf right along that Texas-Louisiana border. We're keeping an eye on Tropical Storm Jerry. It's looking very, very healthy, and it has grown over right to about 60 miles an hour. It's going to potentially be in at least one we're going to keep an eye on. Over the next 24 hours, we are expecting strengthening, and then we will have a better idea on where it will go after that. So we'll keep an eye on this one, and then we'll keep you updated if that's going to be anything but a problem. But we are expecting to have some nice weather here. We're going to start getting a high pressure system sending down cooler, drier air as we go through Thursday. The clouds will push out of the area. We're going to have a very sunny Thursday. Temperatures are only going to be in the low 80s, so it will feel very nice tomorrow. It's going to be a pleasant day. So we're going to carry that into Friday, where we won't see too much in terms of cloud cover. As we get into Friday morning, we'll start off cool again. Temperatures will be in that low 60 range, maybe even in the upper 50s, especially if we stay clear during the night. The clouds act as a blanket, so if the clearer it is, the cooler we can get. Overnight, once we get into Friday, that's when we'll start to increase those temperatures going into the next 7 days. But it's going to be our first little taste of fall. We aren't expecting anything in terms of precipitation the next at least 5 days, so at least for the end of the week, enjoy these cooler temperatures. Things are going to feel very nice going into the weekend.
We like that. Thanks a lot.
Coming up, it started as a joke on national TV, but has turned into a very serious effort to help sick kids. Oh, just a terrible story out of New York tonight. A teen's murder streamed and recorded by dozens of people watching and did nothing to help. At least one person has been arrested and will appear in court tomorrow. Reed Binion has the story.
They videoed his death instead of helping him.
Police say some of the final moments of 16-year-old Cassine Morris's life were recorded on cell phones and streamed on social media.
Kids stood here and didn't help Cassine. They would rather video this event.
Police say dozens of people watched an unarmed Morris get stabbed earlier this week outside of a strip mall in Nassau County, New York, and did nothing to help.
There was several kids here. There's got to be about 50, 60, 70 kids here. We have a handful of kids that have come forward that have identified subjects involved in this. There is definitely more.
Morris was taken to a hospital where he later died. Investigators say the fight Morris was involved in was over a girl.
It's over a common girl and a perception of who she might be dating or who she might be hanging with.
Homicide detectives are now urging and warning witnesses to come forward.
You need to get out in front of this. After I put handcuffs on you is not going to be the time to be helpful for you.
Officials say police presence has now been beefed up around the school and the area where the fight took place. Nassau County put out a statement on the stabbing saying, quote, "If you see someone in serious danger, please use your phone to get help, not likes and shares."
You guys took my brother away from me and my family.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Absolutely disgusting. Wow. Well, still ahead, the Braves' magic number to defend the East down to 2 entering tonight's game. Could they take it down to 1? Brendan's next with sports.
Yeah, they never dropped that video in.
Now, sports coverage you can count on.
Braves playoff tickets will go on sale to the general public Friday morning at 10 a.m. If you're a member of the Braves Club or a season ticket holder, they were available earlier this morning. Still are. Braves taking on the Phillies. How about Charlie Culberson? Took a 90-mile-an-hour fastball to the face earlier in the week. Tonight out on the field is the Braves nominee for the Roberto Clemente Award with his family. Second inning, Brian McCann into the force out at second, but it's good enough to bring in a run. Nick Markakis puts a land on the board first. Fourth inning, Julio Teheran has had some trouble, as have a lot of pitchers with that man. Bryce Harper, a no-doubter, 2-run shot with JT Realmuto on base, and the Phillies take the lead 2-1. Sixth inning, still 2-1 Phillies. Cesar Hernandez. Yeah, Teheran knew that one's going to table for one to the chop house. Extends the Phillies lead to 3-1. Still in the sixth, still 3-1 Phillies. Bases loaded. Luke Jackson throws the walk. brings in another Phillies run, 4-1, and this one about to go final. Braves down to their final out. The South Carolina Gamecocks hit the road this weekend to the other Columbia to take on Missouri. While there were many reasons to feel good about the offensive effort Saturday against Alabama, the Gamecocks head to Missouri this weekend looking to right some wrongs defensively, particularly on the back end in a secondary that was carved up by North Carolina in Week 1 and the Tide last Saturday.
Issues is staring at the quarterback in man coverage, which you can't do. You got to cover your man first. They're not throwing it to you, they're throwing it to him. We want our guys to play the ball. We just had some fundamental breakdown and carrying it over from the meeting room to the practice field to the game day. And we didn't do that with, a couple experienced players.
Little plays turned into big plays. They took a couple slants to the house, and, that's mostly on the secondary. Like Coach said, that we did a good job stopping the run game. The offense did a pretty decent job. We just got to pick it up to the secondary. That's the bottom line.
4 o'clock kickoff. Gamecocks going to face former Clemson quarterback Kelly Bryant, who transferred to Missouri midway through last season. This week's WJBF Scholar Athlete of the Week is Brianna Ladero from Grovetown High School. Brianna has a 4.0 GPA. She's a member of the National Honor Society, ranked 10th in her class of more than 400 students. She also plays lacrosse and is a captain on the Warriors cheerleading squad, where she's a candidate for Top 40 Cheerleader of the Year. Her dad, Addison, proudly serving our country, and Brianna makes he and his wife very proud parents.
You've seen what the military has had to do for the past 2 decades, and I have probably been gone a third of her life. So all the credit goes, I feel great about it. All the credit goes to my wife and the great staff here that they have. She's had great mentors to help her along the way.
My coaches and my teachers and my parents and my family motivating me all the time, and that helps me to learn to motivate myself and just be the best that I can be.
She's very selfless too. She's looking out for Brianna, but she's looking out for the interest of her peers and those around her, probably more so than herself, and I think that's what makes her super successful too.
And she hopes to go to Georgia Tech, wants to become a surgeon one day. Congratulations. We'll be right back.
And tonight's going to be cooler in the low 60s. We will start to clear up as we get into your Thursday. We'll see plenty of sunshine. Again, those lower 80s are going to be around, so it's going to feel very nice the next 3 days leading up to the weekend, so enjoy it.
Last but not least tonight, my favorite story of the week from my favorite show on television. Each Saturday morning, ESPN College Game Day broadcasts live for 3 hours from the site of the week's biggest game. Be in Athens, Georgia this week, actually.
Well, there you go. Well, last week in Ames, Iowa, one of the thousands of fans decided to use one of the thousands of signs for a joke that has become a serious effort to help sick kids.
Meet Carson King, a 24-year-old Altoona man who's probably a lot like a lot of us. He has bills to pay, a mortgage, and student loans. But these days, he's better known as the guy looking for beer money.
It's crazy. It's just overwhelming.
Like many Iowa State fans Saturday morning, Carson woke up early and went to college game day in Ames. But his day quickly changed, all because of this sign. He needed some beer money and figured, why not try to get some from strangers?
I didn't think it would be on TV. I didn't think anyone would actually donate to it. I thought, oh, what would be kind of funny? Maybe someone in the crowd will see it and send me money for, a case of Busch Light, get some lattes. And it just really took off.
What were you hoping initially? Were you really just looking for beer money?
So honestly, it started out as a joke.
A joke that quickly brought in hundreds of dollars. The donations were small at first, 25 cents here, $1 there, but it was starting to add up.
Within like a half hour, we had like $400. My buddy Tyler, he's like, who keeps blowing up your phone? Who keeps texting you? I looked down and it was Venmo, and I had over $400.
And at that point, it was still for beer.
At that point, yeah, I was like, oh, this is great. This is hilarious. I can buy beer for everyone here. This is awesome. And then, once we hit about $600, I was like, well, I think there's something a little bit better we can do with this.
By 1 p.m. Saturday, Carson tweeted out that he'd be donating the money he raised to the University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital, proud home of the Iowa Wave.
Honestly, I kind of thought it was a cool little, rivalry thing. That Iowa and Iowa State fans, even during the rivalry, they can help each other.
That is when things really took off.
The kind of attention this has gotten for such a good cause, it's crazy.
Soon, Venmo and Busch tweeted at Carson saying they'd match his donation.
Whatever people donate to me, they can multiply it.
Wednesday at noon, donations were still pouring in. His account at $37,000, allowing this run-of-the-mill Midwesterner to make a $100,000 impact.
Yeah, I'm just an Iowa guy, working and everything, and saw a chance to, maybe do something that'll help someone, and, took it, Iowa nice, all that good stuff.
Bravo, that was wonderful.
That's great stuff.